Welcome to the 1111 podcast. Would you join me by taking a deep breath in and a deep breath out? Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am so grateful to have you all here. And if there's any topic, you've heard me say this, you're going to hear me say this now. But if there's any topic that you have and you would like to hear, you want to hear a different perspective on it, or you just want to submit a topic just because, go ahead and do that. I hope everyone is well. I hope everyone is staying safe wherever you are in this world, and that you know that you are here for a reason and you are so needed and so loved. And I hope that you always feel that and remember that, regardless of if it's being reflected to you or not. It doesn't change the truth of it. So I'm truly grateful for you all. And the last recording of discussing the patriarchy was, I think the microphone had actually timed out. So it actually ended very well on its own. It just kind of faded out. And that's what's happening right now, is a lot of timelines are fading out, fading to the background. A lot of things are being dissolved. A lot of things are also coming up for healing. So just know that things are in transition right now. And it will not always be this way. It can't stay this way. Just as a dark cloud doesn't always cover the sun, it will shine again. You will live, you will breathe, and we will be okay. But there is a process that's undercurrent right now. And, every time I go out in the world, it's just so sad to me. It's so sad. The safest place it is not out there. It's in nature. It's in the hearts of your beloveds. And people are so checked out and so numb. So today we're going to be talking about true love. What is it? What is true love? Does it exist? And how do we obtain it? How do we maintain it? How do we reach true love? What is that like? But before we get into that, I want to remind you that if you do want to collaborate in any way, shape, or form, if you would like to be a guest on this creation platform, please reach out. I'd love to have you on as a guest. And vice versa, if you have a platform that you would like to collaborate with, regardless if it's music, if it's videography, whatever it may be, any creative pursuit, I would be interested in hearing about and potentially collaborating with. So if that's something of interest to you, please reach out. And in conjunction with that, I am building an empire from the ground up of like-minded individuals who want to heal this world where so many people are checked out and so numb and so confused and so scared. If you are brave and are here and ready and want to be a part of this change, this new earth, and want to birth this new earth together, I would say let's collaborate. Let's build this empire. Join me on this mission of building an empire from the ground up, and work with me, never for me. And whatever gifts you have, one of my gifts is counseling. So if you are someone who needs counseling or who's seeking to really do a dive deep into your shadow work, into your subconscious, to your dreams, to any of that, reach out. And I'd love to tell you more. My information is in the description. And if you have a gift that you want to bring, whether it's Reiki, whether it's whatever gift it is, it doesn't have to be a set thing. You could be the person who sends out the emails. And really, no gift is too small, no gift is too large to bring. So please bring your gifts and let's utilize them, because the world we currently live in does not value a lot of things that are of sacred value. They may overlook you. They may judge you. They may, ostracize you or isolate you or try to diminish the good that you actually are, because this world is set up, as we talked about on the last recording of patriarchy. It's set up for patriarchy. For those who don't know, I didn't know until I saw it, and it was so under the radar, right? So I do music as well, and I was looking up some new music that was coming out, and most recently Kanye West just dropped an album. Now I started thinking, usually this is hype, right? Like, everyone would know Kanye West just dropped an album. Regardless if you live under a rock as I do sometimes, you would still hear about this, but no, nothing, not a peep. And that's because he's no longer working for the forces that would help him succeed. But it doesn't change the fact that there's still a war going on in the psychological, spiritual realms, and that there is a war on the feminine. Because Kanye West dropped an album, and they still will always do this in the marketing. Part of the plague is part of the subconscious being okay with abuse. Taylor Swift also released an album, and they decided to have their covers right next to each other. Now, for those who don't know, Taylor Swift and Kanye West have had upheaval in their connection. They've never even had a connection. There was a moment of disrespect from the male to the feminine, as we usually see. And what happens in this world is that the abusers are usually more protected than the victims. The victims the story is slanted against them. And so another subconscious tactic that happens in this war of the feminine is to put them right next to their abusers. They'll play a Rihanna song on the radio, and right after they play a Chris Brown. They'll play a Megan Thee Stallion, and then they'll play her abuser, and all of these things are to lower your defenses, to be okay with things that are unacceptable, and to be programmed. And so, like I said, just every time I'm out in the world, I see people who are so programmed. They want you to be on a panic. They want your head on a swivel anytime something chaotic is happening. And you will always know who the leader is, because the leaders are always calm. The leaders are always resolute and sure of themselves. And this world of falsity will show you a false version of power. I love my Ascended Master, because my Ascended Master, a sovereign being, doesn't need the accolades of riding in on a stallion. No. Chooses to ride in on a donkey. Chooses to see those things that are deemed less than by the masses, to see beyond that. And I absolutely treasure that. I truly do. And so when we talk about the concept of true love, we have to understand what is true love. And so what is true love? There are many definitions. What resonates with you? What comes to mind when you think of true love? There's many forms of love, such as platonic, familial, romantic, relational, self-love, collaborative love, collective love. There's so many different forms of love. And also, if you love these messages, please continue to share them. Share them if you're watching this live on the YouTube channel. Well, not necessarily live, but if you're watching these on the YouTube channel, please make sure you share, subscribe, give it a thumbs up. It helps the channel grow. And also, if you are a Spotify listener, please, I'm asking you to share this with your friends, because once my channel hits 100 streams on Spotify, it will become monetized. And that helps give back to the channel, that helps just my life in general, and that also helps build this community. So if there are people that you think may benefit from this, please share these messages. You have my permission to share these messages and to like these videos and to send in those topics that you may have. So please know that you can definitely do that, and I encourage it. But to understand true love, we have to understand the methodology of these words. What is true love? Right? Because there's love and then there's true. And when you put them together, Captain Planet. So what does it mean? What does true love really mean? And part of why this topic showed up in my experience is I was shuffling my music again, right? And ironically, again, this person keeps showing up. So I hope this person is doing well, taking care of their own mental and emotional bodies. A Kanye West song played. featuring XXXtentacion, and the song is about true love. And the line says, "True love shouldn't be so complicated." On one hand, it shouldn't be. We are deserving of love. We arrive here from the state of love. Before we are born, we understand that concept. That's why children are connected to the spiritual and unseen realms, because they know what love is. They're so fearless because they haven't been broken by broken expectations and trauma and disappointment. They love freely. They can go up to strangers. They can gravitate towards things that they resonate with. They haven't been shamed and told what is right and wrong yet. They just exist. And that is deeply embedded in our core. Is deeply embedded underneath all of the traumas and all of the survival mechanisms we've had to use. It is still a frequency within our own being, of us always knowing which direction will lead us to our highest good. The challenge is actually following that. The challenge is actually diminishing our doubts and our overthinking and our past experiences to really just lean into that. So part of understanding what is true love is understanding the word true. True means trust. Trust requires honesty. And for something to be true means it has to be real. Means it has to be authentic. Means it has to be reliable. So when you start to ask yourself, what is true love? And you break down the two words, what is true? You start to understand there will be people who may never find true love because it requires them to be true. You can't find true love while you're lying. You can't find true love while you're pretending. You can't find true love while you're living an inauthentic life. True love will evade you at every turn, because until you start to be true, you won't even have the frequency to attract truth and to maintain it when it arrives. So understand that if you want true love, you have to ask yourself, are you willing to be true? Are you willing to live your truth even if it costs you? Are you willing to hear the truth even when it makes you uncomfortable? Are you willing to do what is necessary to find true love? And then we take the word love. Now, there are many definitions of love, and the only one that I find really beneficial comes from sacred texts. It's from the book of Corinthians. I believe it's chapter 13. I will put it in the description. I don't have it off the top. But I love that definition of love, and you've probably heard it regardless if you read sacred texts or not. You don't have to. But the first words of the sentence starts that says, love is patient and love is kind, and goes forth from there. But just taking that first stance, love is patient and love is kind. If those attributes do not describe you, or describe what you've experienced, or describe what you've attracted, or what you've had around you, you may have never experienced love. You may not even know what love is. And that's okay. Many of us don't. Many of us are experience the psychological programming that is very dense here. Most of us have amnesia to where we have arrived from. Whether we consider ourselves starseeds or light workers or whatever the case is, we have a forgetting. And there's a longing to go back to that home, our true home. So we have to understand what is true and what is love. And those definitions, we have to learn how to become those ourselves. And then also evaluate, have we ever experienced that in our entire existence? Are we experiencing that in our current reality? And what do we need to do to cultivate that to happen in our future? So many of us do not know what love is, just point blank. Many of us have viewpoints and thoughts of what that definition means, and they are all coming from a lens that has been severely painted by others, because we are impressionable, we are relational beings. So a lot of times people confuse love with attachment. They confuse love with abuse. And they confuse love with fear, because the opposite vibration of love is not hate, it is fear. And we live in a world that is overly saturated with fear, especially right now. You can't go to sleep and wake up and not know about the fears and the traumas that you're either experiencing in your own waking life or that you know others are experiencing and the entire world is. And so most people, because the other shadow of love is grief, want to avoid any uncomfortable feelings. That's when addictions arise. That's when lust arise. That's when avoidance arise, and numbing oneself out to the atrocities happening in our world. And that may work as a band-aid for a certain while, but it doesn't heal anything. The only way to heal any type of rupture or anything that needs repair is to sit in those feelings and process them, transmute them, heal them in a way that is loving, and heal them in a way that is going to actually heal the root of it, and not just put a band-aid over a broken bone or a broken heart, but actually taking the emotional pain and really processing it. The first heartbreak I experienced, which means it indicates it wasn't the last, but the first heartbreak I experienced, everyone was saying, they'll give you that terrible advice. If you want to get over someone, get under someone, and all this extra stuff. And I knew that was not going to work for me. I knew that I wanted to really drop to the bottom of this ocean of grief and pain that I was experiencing. And it took years before I was able to even entertain engaging with anyone on that type of level. And so, but I was so grateful that I took that time, because the next relationship I had ended up not only being the longest relationship, but ended up being such a safe, mutual, loving relationship. And I know if I had rushed that process, I would have just been causing myself more pain and anyone else I engaged with pain, because I was not in a place. I felt too broken, but I also knew that that brokenness could be mended, and that I was the one to mend it. And so there is natural pain in this plane that we experience when we involve love, because we have been severely traumatized in this world, and we live in a world that is set up on fear, a world that has stifled the meaning of true love. So there's a fear of abandonment, there's a fear of rejection, there's so many fears that can just creep up the closer you get to love. And understanding that part of love, another definition, understanding this definition is important as well. And this definition comes from a person who I regularly quote, and you see her videos. Now, I don't agree with everything, and I find less resonance as time goes on, but I am grateful for the times that she was really important in my life as I was going through a lot of shadow work, especially in regards to just attachments and just so many toxic things I was taught. And that person is Teal Swan. Her definition of love is to love something or someone is to take it as a part of yourself. To love is to take said thing as a part of yourself. Now that is beautiful, because that means you will consider other people as an extension of yourself. So you know that you can't hurt yourself or hurt them without hurting yourself, and you can't hurt yourself without hurting them. And so to take someone or something as a part of yourself means that your definition and your ability and capacity to love yourself is going to have a direct influence on the type of love you're able to interact with. Now, I know people get so irritated. Oh, I'm so tired of hearing, just love yourself. You can't love yourself until you can't love anyone else until you love yourself. Oh, I'm so tired of hearing that. Well, I wish that that's not how the universe works, but that is. That we can't give what we haven't received. We can't give what we don't have to give. So if we don't have a healthy self-love, we can't give that to anyone else. And there are people who will try to do that. There are people who will try to convince you that they can do that. You'll see someone show that they don't have any love for themselves, but they'll tell you that they love you. You'll see someone who you can just tell they don't know what love is, but they will tell you. But their actions will speak very differently. And when we don't have a healthy self-love, when we haven't learned to love ourselves, our flaws, our insecurities, our looks, our voice, or whatever it is, whatever we may feel is unworthy of love, until we learn to love those attributes of ourselves, we will get into connections with other people and things, and we will play out the toxic versions of what we think love love is. We will traumatize people in the same ways we've been traumatized. We will abandon people in the same ways we've been abandoned. And this is where self-sabotage comes in. This is where repeating cycles show up. And until you make the subconscious conscious, it will play out. It will show up. Because that's part of the laws of attraction. I did an entire series on the laws of attraction if you want to check that out too. But I think that understanding that nothing exists in this world without its reflection. So if you want true love, you have to first be enabling yourself to be true love, which means you have to be true. You have to know your needs. You have to know your wants, your desires, without shaming yourself, without judging yourself as this is right or wrong, or using someone else's rule book to tell you what is right or wrong. But you have to get really comfortable with yourself of what is working for you, because this is your one true life to live. And if you live it for others, then you will have spent an entire lifetime trying to please others who will never be pleased with you. So you have to get really comfortable with your truth. Also, there's another saying that says God is love. So if you have a aversion to the universe, the connection to source, healing that will also help you heal that you can have a benevolent being love you. And that love can be steadfast, reliable, faithful, consistent, and not leave, not wither, and not you not have to wait for the other shoe to drop. So the more that you can cultivate healthy love in your life without the attachment to anyone or anything, that will set you up for better results of actually receiving the love that you are and the love that you desire. Now, does true love exist? I absolutely think it does exist. Do many of us find it? I think that we find different versions of it. We see it in nature. We see it with the animals. We see it with a child. So I do think there are other ways other than the traditional romantic way of viewing true love. You might love the food you just made. Whatever it is. You might love this piece of work, this art that you're creating. So there's true love. You might love what you do. You might love your purpose. So there are many ways that we can bear witness to the ways true love exists. Now when it comes down to finding true love and a connection, it again goes back to how willing are you to face the truth of yourself? How willing are you to love yourself? And how willing are you to receive that in return? So the more abuse and trauma we've gone through, the more wounding we have around topics of love, whether we realize it or not. It will be like trying to shake hands with someone with a clenched fist. It's just not going to work. To try to pour true love onto people who are not ready to receive it. And also to try to receive true love when you're not ready to receive it either. So understand that when you if it is on your journey and your path to experience true love, the first thing you will experience is the opposite of love. As soon as love is there to meet you and greet you, everything that wasn't love has got to go. So all of your pain, all of your trauma, all of your insecurities, all of your fears, they come rising up to the surface. And there's a purge that happens. And for those of you who are in like twin flame connections or soulmate connections, you've probably experienced this, where all of the things that you were running from, all of the things you were avoiding, and it's not all bad, there is good, but there is so much more to, there's layers to go through that have been clouding your understanding of love. There are layers that have been distorting your perception of yourself. And there are facets of things you have to go through to even be ready to receive love, because of the amounts of pure ignorance we've been around, and the amounts of fear that is ingrained in us. It's part of our DNA. It's part of our reptilian brain set, that we have fear that was needed when we needed to survive. But now we need to learn how to put down those weapons of destruction. We need to learn that we can actually survive in harmony. We don't have to survive anymore. We can actually coexist. We can thrive. We can be in unity. That requires a lot of honesty, a lot of transparency, a lot of difficult conversations, a lot of seeing of oneself and being seen in return. So does true love exist? I think it does. I know it does. I'm an embodiment of it. And when you meet others who also operate that way, no matter where you are on your healing journey, there's always, it's a never-ending journey. So you can't just, I had an ego death, I'm good, I'm saved. It doesn't work that way. It's a continual process. And I do believe that a lot of us are here to implement love in this dark, false, scared world. And that often means that you will be attacked because of that love. And, I think a lot of people can have this fear of not wanting to find love because they don't want it to be taken from them. A lot of that is past life trauma, but it's also what we see, And so I know I've had that fear of not wanting to be close because, as soon as you get close to someone, they can either leave or be taken from you or killed or you die or all these different things. But that's part of the beauty of love, is the shadow side of grief, is the understanding that there is a mystery and that it requires trust. That's why it has to be true in order for it to work. It requires trust. And you have to trust into the unknown. You have to trust in the fact that this love will overcome any fears that you may have. And those fears exist because we live in a world that tries to manipulate us into those fears so that we never reach for the things we really want. We never go for those things, because when you do, you actually inspire others to do the same, and you become a threat to the people in the Skeksis who want to control everything, because then now you are showing things that are possible. And I say that it's better to be brave and to take risk than to live in your own little cavern and never do anything that makes any sense. Never do anything that would make anyone uncomfortable out of fear of it being taken or hurt or whatever the case is. But that's not really living. That's existing. But if you want to really live, you have to be willing to risk it, even if it's only for a moment, because I love the movie City of Angels, and I'm going to try to not spoil it, but you have to have that understanding of true love that is worth experiencing. And no matter what it looks like, it's powerful. It's something that can be, yes, scary, but also extremely worth it. Now, we live in a world that has been set up to treat love as a threat. We see it all around. These people in power are so insecure and so narcissistic and so selfish. They have no love. Because when you are loving and powerful, powerful people don't need to show you how powerful they are. Powerful people show you how powerful you are. Because there's more than enough. And there's not this little energy that is trying to manifest as this powerful. There's an undergirding of truth. And so it's about to get really irritating. I'm trying to keep it trying to keep it PG right here. But this world benefits off of people not operating in love. Because love is the one thing that will actually save us. When we love ourselves and we love our neighbors as ourselves, that's the game changer. Because it's not about any of these things that the world has tried to make it seem like it is. And I feel like there's a subconscious mindset that if there's too much love, it's like the people who want hate, they don't know what to do with it. There's actually a quote I'm thinking of now. It says something to the effect of, if you got rid of all that hate, the only thing that would be left would be pain that you'd have to sit with. And most people don't want to sit with their pain. That's why the world is on fire as it is. But the world has always been dismissive of love. Because love is the breaker of chains. Love is the freedom fighter. Love is the only thing that will save us. And in this world, love is seen as a threat. And we see that in history. So back in the civil rights time, that's what I'm trying to say. Back in the civil rights time, there was a separation of the races. Now, I spoke a little bit more on this on the episode of DNA, but there was a separation of the races. Now, part of that was to keep the generational wealth and the generational curses only to certain groups. And if the DNA, the double helix strands, were intertwining with people who didn't have the same type of trauma as you, that becomes an unpredictable pattern. There's a 3-series movie that I've been watching recently, and it's the Divergent series. Divergent, Insurgent, and Allegiance, I want to say, or something like that. Those movies really show kind of the system, because the Divergents were the people who were not controlled because they were free, and they were embodiments of all. They encompassed everything. They weren't just one thing that you tried to narrow us down to be. And when you have races, people of different races procreating, creating a new being, you don't even know how to traumatize this person anymore. You don't even know what to do. And I have people in my relative group that are biracial, that are multi-racist, and things of that nature. And it creates a new thread, a potential for a new thread, that is. Of course, this is where nature versus nurture really comes into effect as well. But when there's intermingling between races, for example, in education classes and things like that, and wealth and poverty and these type of things, you see those movies like Pride and Prejudice where they really try to keep people separated, and they want people who actually love each other to be separated, and they go at great lengths to do so. And so one of those things is in the civil rights time. It was illegal to marry someone of a different race up until 1967, where the loving family became the first interracial family. And before then, it was illegal. And they experienced a lot of trauma because of their love. They chose love in the face of great danger. And you have to wonder, why would your government care so much about who you love, who you get married to? Isn't marriage supposed to be about love? Oops. And then that's when the honest truth of marriage was never about love. Love is about love. Marriage is about control. Marriage is about a legal binding agreement. Marriage was about uniting different countries. Marriage was about the control of women. I can go on for days, right? So it was illegal to marry someone of a different race. And I don't know what evidence and proof they had as to what made sense to why that would be something illegal. At least for same-sex marriages, they had sacred texts that they tried to say this is why it's illegal. But moving forward to same-sex marriages, why would love, regardless of what that looks like, need to be something that is controlled or demonized? If you're telling me in your religion that God is love and these people love each other, I don't understand what the problem is. And they don't really have any backing for that besides, oh, it's a sin. It's a bad thing. But they don't have any reason as to why. And so 1967, it was illegal to marry outside of your race. You can't marry someone of a different race. And then it was illegal to marry someone of the same sex until 2015. I have a beautiful story that maybe I'll share at one point or another. But the fact that same-sex marriage was even a thing, I didn't even know it was illegal, to be honest. I just thought people just didn't want to get married. And then it was like, maybe well before it actually became a thing. I was like, wait, this is really a law? This is something that they really took their time to write and say you can't do? That was wild to me. I never thought that. And so what makes this world stay in a low frequency, in a low fear, easily to manipulate people, vibration, is through trauma bonds. People are easily controlled when they're in trauma, when they are scared, and when they are in survival. And since love is the most powerful thing, I've seen people get so mad whenever love shows up. They get mad because it highlights the love that they aren't. It highlights the love that they don't exist and they don't exude. And they will fight you, and that's exactly what my Ascended Master, I bring up quite a bit. I'm referring to Jesus for those who may have never heard me say that. But my Ascended Master was literally chased out of towns. Not for doing anything. Simply for loving, for healing people. They said, get out! They chased him out of towns. Whenever he disrupted their versions of power, their money system, their pigs, whenever he came and did anything that was disruptive to the systems that were benefiting off of these people's backs. And that's where the problem was. And so many divisive things had to be found to try to find a way to frame this person. So trauma bonds keep people in a low vibration. Trauma bonds are those heightened relationships that you'll see. They exist all around. They are the norm, unfortunately. They are the norm, and they are also encouraged. It doesn't matter how miserable you are, you stay in this trauma bond. It doesn't matter how, it doesn't matter. You just have to do these things. And so for a while, you may try to operate in these trauma bonds. You may be encouraged to do so. In one sense, it may feel safer to be in those trauma bonds because you can predict it. You know you're going to be judged. You know you're going to be ridiculed. You know you're not going to be happy. You know you're not going to be living your best life. And that can become a comfort zone. That can become a safety, a supportive blanket, if you will. You can you can get by not having to get rid of things of yourself. You know that those connections may feel quote unquote easier because they don't challenge you. They don't actually encourage you to grow. They don't make you have to face things about yourself you may not want to face. So a lot of people do settle for trauma bonds. And for those who do not, that requires being true and being love. And for those who do not want to just settle for trauma bonds, there is a way to find true love. First, become it. Secondly, dismiss anything that's not it. So understand that for those who are in those higher frequency relationships, such as a soulmate, those kind of relationships will challenge you. There will be a lot of shadow that comes up. And there may be times when you're doubting, is this person a karmic? Is this person a trauma bond? Not necessarily. Sometimes those things come up because of all the trauma you both have endured. And a way that you know you've actually found a soulmate is their contingency and willingness to continue their agency for their own self. They're not doing this for you. They're not doing this as some prize to win at the end of the game. They're doing this because this is genuinely in their heart. And you will be able to know their fruit you will know them by their fruit. Meaning, what are they doing? How are they treating other people? Do they actually show up with love? Or are they just saying these words to be manipulative and divisive and deceptive? Or is there actual truth here? So it does require some discernment. And there are a few requirements in order to prerequisites to get true love. It's going to require discernment. So sharpening your discernment, very much like wisdom, is experience is your best teacher. These are things I can't show you, I cannot explain to you. You will just have to know them. You will have to experience things, and you will have to also want to know them. If you ask, you shall receive. So if you gravitate towards people who have gone before you, you gravitate towards people who are living the lives that you want to live, and you gravitate towards people who may be a little bit different than you, you will start to expand your understanding of the world. You will gain wisdom from places, unlikely places. If you treat everyone as your brother or your sister, the homeless person, you treat them with the same respect you would the CEO. You will learn from them just by loving them. It also is going to require courage. You cannot love and be a coward. I'm sorry, it doesn't work. Because love requires courage. It's courageous to love in a world that is full of fear. It's courageous to heal yourself in a world that benefits from you not knowing yourself. It's courageous to really put yourself out there, knowing you don't know the future, you don't know how things are going to turn out, but it will strengthen your courage and give you courage as well. Another requirement for true love to gain and attract is trusting your intuition. When your intuition speaks, it's best to follow it. It's best to jump when it says jump, you best be jumping, because there might be another opportunity, there might not be. And when your intuition speaks, it creates trust. It's saying that you trust yourself enough. And if you feel like you don't know your intuition, it's okay. This is one that I can struggle with, is leaping when I feel the need to leap. On my own, that is. With others, I can discern more. What I mean by that is, if I'm, collaborating with someone and my intuition says, do this, I usually can pretty much just do that. But when I'm on my own and my intuition's like, do this, I'm like, let's think about that. Is that a really logical idea? Is that just my fear talking? I'll go into this negotiation state where I'm sitting here procrastinating and talking it through instead of just doing, And so understand that there will be doubts that come up. And that doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. And that doesn't mean you need to shame yourself for it either. That means it's an opportunity for awareness. There will always be another opportunity. That's the beauty of it. The universe is not set up to fail you. It's set up to either pass or repeat. Pass or repeat. That is the lesson plan. So you'll always have another time. Whether it's with this situation or this person, or it's going to be a whole nother platform that you get to work through these things with. But the choices are going to be yours to make. And so understand that love is real. Love is worth pursuing, in my opinion at least, my humble opinion. Go after the things you love. Have courage, have faith, have trust, have understanding, and you will not regret it. It's one of the best decisions you can make, is to really love and honor yourself and truly love everything around you. This world, as chaotic as it is, there is beauty. It's not the world that's chaotic, it's the people in it that are. So thank you for sharing this. Thank you for liking and subscribing to the YouTube channel. Thank you for the topics I'm waiting for to hear more about. And I am truly honored to share this love with you all and to be this love. So thank you. And let's keep it going until next time. Also, if you are wanting to pursue counseling in a very in-depth way, I will be starting a 6-month training for those who want to really. It's going to be like kind of a vigorous workshop, if you will. And you'll hear more information about that as the season goes on. But if you are interested in it, it will be starting in June. So this will be the time now to start reaching out, so that way you can be a part of that from June basically until the end of the year. You will be in a really involved spiritual healing. If you are tired of living the lives you have, if you want to be free, if you're not feeling like you're seeing clearly or just needing that support, know that that support is here and that you are not alone. So thank you. I honor you on your path. Be well. Take care. Until next time.